All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good afternoon, I bid to all. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the English Escapade 2021. Our title of the session today is Public Speaking, Presentation for Conference or Seminar or Interview. And I'm Norainin Ghazali, the HOD of the English Language Department of IPGKPI, and I will be serving as your moderator today. So you'll be hearing, a presentation from Dr. Dilani Ayub, a lecturer from USM on this very timely subject, which is public speaking, presentation for conference, seminar, interview. But before we get started, I would like to take a few minutes of your time, for your information. The SPL KPM registration link for participations, for participants, SPL KPM registration link for participants will be given after 30 minutes of our session today. Please check the chat box for that. And as part of the English Language Department and Jabatan Pembangunan Latihan, we would appreciate it if you could fill out the evaluation provided 30 minutes before the end of the session. Okay, so please turn the evaluation form. Please turn in the evaluation form at the end of the session. Yeah. All right. For your information, Dr. Lilani, the participants are non-TESOL lecturers from different departments at IPG KPI. Okay, so now moving along to our session, please welcome Dr. Lilani Ayub, who will be speaking to us on public speaking, presentation for conference, seminar, interview. For your information, Dr. Lilani Ayub is attached to University Science Malaysia, Penang. She has been lecturing at USM for more than 20 years. She has a vast experience on TESOL, translation and interpreting studies, where she has published many papers and presented a lot of papers, and she published books also on the fields of translation and also TESOL. All right, so without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Lilani Ayub, our honorable speaker, to deliver the presentation. All right, Dr. Lilani, the floor is yours for 2 hours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Norainin. For the introduction, and Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everybody. I see Dr. Muhaida there. Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Muhaida. I hope I'll be able to share some things with all of you. Okay, I will just share my slide for a while. I hope there's no problem. Hang on a minute. Okay. Tak keluar. It's happening again. Okay, got it. Can you see my slide? It's not big yet. Can my slide be seen?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, okay. Assalamualaikum sekali lagi pada semua. I see a few of my friends are also here, and I was told that more friends are coming. Okay, let's see if I have anything new that I can share with you. Anyway, when I received the letter of invitation from IPG KPI, it's written the English Escapade. I thought, wow, that's very interesting, because when you talk about escapade, it's something that brings you away from the seriousness, the boredom, and it's supposed to be exciting, daring, adventurous. So macam menakutkan jugalah kan. So bila bagi saya topik macam ni pula, public speaking, presentation for conference, seminar, interview, alamak, that is not interesting. I am so afraid that I might put you off to sleep. But anyway, I try to make it, I will just wrap it up so that, it covers a lot of all the events that you mentioned there, the conference, the seminar, the interview. What are the things needed for all these things? Okay, so saya tak adalah, I won't be touching on conference only or seminar and just interview. I will touch on things that can be helpful for most of the communicative events. Okay, all right. Trying to make sure that my audience will be stay alert. For me, after lunch memang selalu mengantuk. Uh, I try to make sure that you won't fall asleep. Okay, and whatever that I'm sharing today is actually my way of making things more interesting in presentation. I've learned a few things from my life experiences, and I've tried a few things, and there are things that worked and didn't work. So I would try to share with you what actually worked for me. Okay, and hopefully you can try the same thing, and hopefully you can be as successful as I did when I tried them. Okay, and the storylines for my presentation today goes like this. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that quiet girl. I'm going to talk about encourage, remain positive, and yes, you can. I'm also going to talk about a bit on how to warm up and get ready, and how to enjoy the audience, and let's present. Okay, that quiet girl. Who is that quiet girl? Okay, that quiet girl, when she was little, she was always tagging behind mommy. Okay, whenever somebody approached this little girl, she'll be very shy, and when the person talked to her, she'll be like tagging on the handbag, and holding the mummy's blouse. Okay, and actually that was me. Okay, I was a very shy and quiet girl, and it didn't help because my family called me. Okay, my family members actually label me as itik serati. If you know what itik serati is and how it sounds like nothing. It's just breath. They're excited pun macam tu je. Okay, nothing really came out from my mouth. I was very, very quiet, very, very timid, very shy. And then later, when I went to school, I realized that I really loved dancing. Okay, masa sekolah lah, not anymore. I love watching now. And I love dancing. So I learned to be on stage. In front of the audience, but I was still quiet, and I didn't have to say anything really, and it didn't help school at that time. Okay, Yahya and Hawa can vouch for me, I suppose. If your schools are the same, my school, we had a really, really strict teachers. There's public caning, so we were afraid to really do anything wrong, say anything in classrooms. So basically, memang tak membantulah ya. My time at school in Malaysia really did not help me in coming out of that cocoon. Okay, then I managed to get a scholarship to go to Canada. Okay, that's where I met my friend Yahya. Okay, and if my other friends are here, okay, hello everybody. And over there, I had to go to a high school, and starting from there, I realized that I have a lot of ideas. I can share my ideas, and people would actually listen to my ideas, because over there, the teachers that really encourage the students to speak up. And whenever the student, give their opinions, they would really accept it, and they will never say that, that's a stupid question. What silly question are you asking? None. Okay, they would say that, oh, that's an interesting thing. Let's talk about it. So from there, I started to build my confidence in speaking, and I was not afraid to ask any question. So over there, I learned to be really positive when learning. Okay. Later, after I finished my studies in Canada, okay, sekejap lah ya, for about 2 years, I joined Malaysia Airlines, and over there, I learned a bit more. I learned about diplomacy, and within diplomacy, you learn how to listen well to other people, and you learn how to react and respond to people professionally. And also there, I learned how to be very clear in conveying my instructions, because you need to give a lot of instructions actually when you're working with the airlines. And after that, from the airlines, I met my boss after that, and he invited me to be an English teacher at USM. Okay, that's where I started working at USM. And working there, I used all the knowledge I had while teaching the students there. And I managed to get another scholarship. Okay, and that's when I went into translation and interpreting. And my specialty is actually interpreting, which is oral translation, whereby for normal translation you actually read the text and then you translate it into another language, also by writing. But for interpreters, they've got to listen to the speakers, and immediately you convey the message in another language orally. Okay, so I actually built my communication skills through all these different phases of my life. But one thing that actually remained in me was that this positiveness, because without the positivity in my thinking, I will not be able to get to where I am now. Okay, and Canada was actually the starting point where I learned to be very, very positive, selalu bersangka baik, okay, push away all this negativity and encourage a lot of people, okay, and because negativity kills confidence, builds mistrust, heighten gaps. Kita tak nak jurang yang besar when we speak to other people. And one thing about us being teachers, okay, we don't want to kill the creativity of the students. So that's why we need to remain positive so that our students can become better than us from what they learn from us. So, you encourage. Okay, now, encouragement is good. Remain positive is good. And yes, and because of all that, you can do what you want to do, or what you plan to do. All right. So positive reinforcements can transform the shy. I was very, very shy, very, very timid, and to become confident. Highly tak lah kot. Confident enough. And okay, I was very interested when I saw this particular quotation. It says that first impression matters, but consistent impression is where the proof is. I was really impressed by this, okay, because we always talk about first impression. Okay, and first impression, okay, we work on it. And whenever we talk about, when you want to do a presentation, we always talk about first impression. When you want to go for interviews, yes, you talk about first impression. But we also must remember that this impression must last. Okay, because that will be the one staying with us, and that will be the one that help us, go further up and become more successful, inshallah. Okay, but true, okay, no matter what you say, first impression still matters. Okay, so how do you connect with your audience or the people on the first meet? Okay, so whenever you need to present anything at conferences or seminar, or you want to attend interviews, you need to really connect with the person over there, okay, in front of you, or with the students. You need to connect with them. So what do you do? Okay, and the first thing that always happen is to introduce yourself, and it's always tell me about yourself. Okay, they always say that, tell me about yourself. Boringnya lah, tapi that is always asked of you, and that is actually a point where you can actually create that good first impression. You can get off to a good start. You can start to feel more confident if the starting point is, on point. So that's how you can make a good impression. So when you talk about yourself, of course, you talk about yourself, your name. Okay. A lot of people, they would just say, okay, my name is Lilani Ayub. I'm from Kuala Lumpur. I'm working in USM. That's it. Okay, that's boring. Okay, that's really boring. How can you make it interesting? Look at your own names. Okay, my own name. Okay, my name is Lilani. Memang yang tu unik sikit lah. Okay, I can actually say that. Okay, if you look at my name, it's actually very interesting. It actually can cover, it can actually represent Malaysia. Why? Because it has Lee. It has Lila and Lilani and Lily and I'm a Malay. Okay, macam menarik juga kan? So you can actually try to get the people's attention by how you present your own name. If you feel that our name is your name is not as interesting, maybe you can look at the next thing. Highlight something that makes you unique. You know about yourself. You can talk about, let's say, for example, I can say about myself. I say, I was born in Kuala Lumpur, but I'm not really a KL girl. When I was little, my father moved to Kota Baru, so I've been to the east side of Semenanjung. And then when I went to school, I was sent to a school in the southern part of Peninsula, which is in Johor. And then when I worked, I choose to work in the north. So I really encompass Malaysia. And a lot of people think that I'm a Sabahan. Okay, so there comes the Sabah in me. So you try to make it interesting that way, so that people feel they're comfortable talking to you. Okay, they feel that you are confident. Padahalnya, tangan sejuk ni. Okay, bila bercakap, tapi when you do things like that, it warms you up and it warms other people up. Okay, so they get the connection with you. Or you can also start with a pop culture reference. Contohnya macam my daughters. Both my daughters have got Laila in their name. So they can talk about, remember Kampung People? There's a character Laila there. Okay, that's my name also, Laila. Or you can confess about your nickname if you have interesting nicknames, okay, given to you. You can talk about your own dress. Let's say you like to wear brooches and things like that. You always wear that one brooch there that represents something. Okay? Or you can keep it relevant. Or consider the situation around you. You look at the context there. What's going on there? Is there something interesting that's happening there that you can talk about? Or you can search for common ground. Okay, if you come, let's say one of the panel members, and when you talk to the audience and you say, anybody here from Penang? Okay, something like that. Okay, so you can talk a bit about Penang. Or you can also, sometimes when you introduce yourself, you'll be talking about yourself, okay? Please remember, okay, don't make it too self-centered, because sometimes you need to show that you are not about you only, okay? Try to include other people, okay? Try to ask back question, all right? So can you tell me also about yourself? I see that, you look like you are from this place and whatever, so that you can pull other people in the conversation with you. And the other thing is smile, okay? Smile is, one of the element that is mentioned a lot of time in many kind of readings I've read. Okay, so smiling is actually good. Okay, so smile a lot. Okay, dapat pahala. Okay, boleh awet muda. Okay, alright. So next, okay, these are the top 10 communication skills. Okay, which I can vouch. Betul. Okay, one thing about communication is that if you want to be a good communicator, one thing you need to have, the first thing that you need to have, and in a lot of readings I've done, it talks about listening. Okay, being able to listen. Without this listening skill, you are not going to be a good communicator. You are only good about talking about yourself. Okay, you can become very self-centered, and that's really not good. It's really not good for a person. Okay, when you want to work with people, you need to have this listening skill, because when you have listening skill, you know what's going on in the other side of of the world, what's going on with other people, what is, you get information. So being a good listener is very, very good actually. The other thing that is very important is also non-verbal communication. Okay, a lot of people, when they talk about presentation, they talk about the verbal part, which is, what words you use, how you construct your sentences, how you structure your talks and things like that. But sometimes people forget about the non-verbal communication, and non-verbal communication is actually a very important part of communication that help you in conveying very effective presentations. Being clear and being concise, okay, is also very important. Okay, if you're not clear yourself, how are you going to make people understand what you convey? Okay, and being concise is also important, because sometimes people, they ramble, they just ramble, just go on and on, dia tak cakap, it's not concise enough, cerita panjang sangat, berpusing-pusing. We don't want that. You need to have some kind of friendliness, okay, in being able to communicate well. Confidence memang sentiasa disebut. Empathy, okay, empathy is very important, especially as people who handle students. Okay, empathy ni tak adalah asyik kesian je, tak ada, tapi at least kita memahami. Yeah, the least is we empathize our audience. When we empathize our audience, we try to think of what are the things that they would need, what are the things that they wouldn't like to see, okay, wouldn't like to hear. So when we empathize, we are aware of what other people needs and concerns. Okay, the other thing is open-mindedness. Okay, this is also important, because when you communicate, you sometimes get comments, and if you're very defensive, it's actually hard for you to move forward, okay, to improve yourself. All right, so open-mindedness is very, very important. And another thing about open-mindedness is to always be interested in what other people do, and it's not just about yourself. Okay, when you're interested about other things, okay, what other people do, what they're presenting, what they're sharing, you open yourself to a lot of knowledge. Okay, you open yourself to a lot of path that you can actually venture into, and that can actually make what you do become much better and more relevant. Okay, and the next one is respect. Okay, respect. Okay, especially once you go up the ladder, sometimes you feel that, respect, you should respect me because I'm already up there. But I really respect a lot of people who are already up there, and they are still humble, and they still ask questions, and they still show interest in what you do. Okay, because when they do that, it makes you feel that you are connected to them. Okay, and then you feel that they respect you, and because of that you respect them back. Okay, next, in presentation. Okay, whenever I do my presentation, I always tell this to myself. Okay, semangat lah, bagi semangat. I am not biasa-biasa saja. Okay, I am not an ordinary person. I need to show that I'm not an ordinary person. Kita bukan biasa-biasa saja. So when you have that thought in your mind, so you try to make sure that whatever you present is not biasa-biasa saja. Okay, so you try to make it interesting, you try to make it unique. Okay, you would actually try your best. Okay, and of course the fluency and the flair, and the other thing is being analytical. So whenever you prepare whatever that you prepare to present in conferences, especially in conferences, because in conferences, especially international ones, you are dealing with people from all over the world. You are dealing with people who are experts in whatever that they do. So if you're not analytical, if you don't dig deep enough, then whatever you present will be just blah, biasa-biasa saja. So you need to really, really dig deep. Okay, and whenever you dig deep, it's not just about the local things that you can uncover. Okay, it's also what is there out in the world, and how you connect that to your own local environment. Okay, that is also very important because we are here in Malaysia. Whatever we learn, we need to give back to Malaysia. Okay, semangat Malaysian. Okay, next is you have to be very clear and enough in conveying the message. Okay, enough is very important because whenever you do any presentation anywhere, you need to know, okay, how much time is slotted for you. Okay, if it's a conference, normally about 20 minutes, 20 minutes of your presentation, and then 10 minutes for Q&A. And for seminar, it depends. Sometimes it's long. Okay, macam ni ceramah ni. Okay, saya at the beginning I was given 3 hours. I was like, 3 hours panjang. Okay, what can I do? Okay, to fulfill that 3 hours. But when it's shorter to 2 hours, alhamdulillah, that's normal. Okay. Anyway, so you need to look at what is given, what are the guidelines. So when you know, okay, the time frame is 20 minutes, make sure what you give within that 20 minutes is enough. Okay, you can over prepare, but make sure that whatever that you do, you rehearse and it covers that 20 minutes. Okay, ambil masa sikit tak apa, lebih. Ada tempat dia tak bagi langsung. Okay, 20 minutes, saya kata 20 minutes, 20 minutes you stop and we need to give the chance to another person. So enough. Hello?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Sorry, but your slide is not moving.
My slide is not
Can
moving.
you? Yes.
Where is it now?
Still at English Escapade at IPG KPI.
Oh my god, I've done so much.
Because can you click that one? Save a copy, and then I think your slide will move once you click that one.
Save a copy? Okay, hang on.
The one up there.
Nak
Upload
saya
block.
cakap. Oh, kena klik save a copy there.
Because it's blocked there.
Allah, penat saya cakap. Why didn't you say so earlier? Alright. Save a copy.
Oh, now we are at the 25th slide, number 25th, is it?
Yeah, I showed so much.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Alright. Save a copy. Okay, let me just save it. Okay. Alright. Sebab tu lah, because I'm so used to WebEx.
Alright.
WebEx dia tak ada masalah ni lah. So never mind. So can you see this now?
Yes, we can.
What can you see? You can see
we can see positive reinforcements can transform the shy to become the highly confident.
Alright, great. Okay, now let me just go quickly. Why am I stuck? Okay, I'll just go quickly. Okay, so you saw this one, you didn't see?
Girl, yeah, we see that. The storyline goes like this, yeah. Okay. This was the beginning of your story just now.
Yes, this was the beginning of the
girl.
story. Okay, this is the beginning of the story. The shy girl. This is okay. The next one is Itik Serati.
Yes, Itik Serati.
And then the dancing. Sikit je lah. And then okay, yang tu. And then went to Canada. And then what comes up from a Canadian experience, and then I was with Malaysia Airlines. What I got from Malaysia Airlines, and then I went to become a teacher in USM, and then interpreting and being positive, avoid being negative, and okay, that's the next slide. Okay, that's that. This is the quotation that I talked about. Okay, and okay, what was I? How do you connect with people? Okay, why? And these are the things, the tips on how you make your introduction interesting. And okay, I talked about that, and I'm here now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Let me. Okay.
Sorry, because I had to go back to the technical support department just now to see what is the problem there. So they said that it's because of the unsafe block.
Okay. All right. So this one you can see, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Very clear.
Okay, great. So this one you can see, yeah? It's moving. It's moved.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, for me, okay, when I look at presentation, I look at it this way. There are two types. The first type consists elements of performance. Okay, I will tell you why I say that here for this type of presentation, it has the elements of performance. Okay, what are underneath it is either formal or informal. So formal would be, public speaking, presentation for conferences, seminars, etc. Even for lectures, I would consider that as something formal. And for informal ones would be informal speeches. Okay, when suddenly you're invited to give speeches when retirement things like that, or plan script. For example, you need to meet your director, Dr. Abdurrahman. Dr. Abdurrahman, you need to ask for something, so you prepare some kind of a script, a dialogue before you meet him. Okay, so that's some kind of preparation there. Okay, for type 2, okay, it's actually an impromptu ones, right? For this one, for formal, I would put interviews under here. Okay, I will tell you why. And also for meeting and discussion, and for informal situation, for informal interview or day-to-day conversation, sembang-sembang, itu under informal for type 2. Okay, why do I put element of performance for type 1? Because whenever you have a performance,
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Dr. Lilani. Now is slide number 20 still number? Is it moving now?
I don't know. It's written the elements of performance. Nampak?
Now is in presentations where you put I'm not biasa-biasa saja.
Oh my god, that is so far away.
Yes.
So how?
You have to click. I think you have to click.
This one, click where?
You whenever you move your slide, you have to click the slide, like the normal presentation that we do in class.
Okay.
But I'm clicking.
Oh, really?
I'm clicking. It's not moving. Okay, never mind. This is a disaster. Can you see that? Type 1.
Still in presentation, Lily.
Can you see that?
No.
No.
How do I do this then?
I think you go. You ada. Okay, Nin.
Encik Ali Imran, can you help? Okay. Is
Can
it
you
this
see
one?
this way? If I put it this way, can you see it?
Yeah, I see the type 1 consists elements of performance.
Okay, I think I will not make. You can see now, type 1. Yeah?
Yes, type 1 consists elements of performance.
Yes. And then type 2, impromptu. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just stay this way. All right, so type, why do I say that there's element of performance? Because whenever you have performances, you've got to prepare. All right, so there's a lot of preparation when you have when you need to present for conferences and all that. All right, and when you have preparation, you need to practice. Okay, so you would actually go through your slides, for example, and practice, or maybe record yourself. Okay, if you're really serious about it, you can record yourself and look at the timing and things like that. And there's also the stage elements, because when you have a presentation at conferences, you will look at the venue and you will see, okay, this particular conference is going to be held at a hotel, and where in the hotel? Is it going to be at the grand ballroom, or is it going to be in the little rooms that they have? Okay, so when you know that, you need to really prepare yourself. Okay, how I am going to go about it. Am I just going to be sitting down, or am I going to stand up and move, or just stand at the rostrum? Okay, so you have to think a lot. You have to really plan yourself. And am I going to move a lot? Okay, am I able to move to my audience? Some people like me, I like to move to my audience so that I can get closer to them. All right, so these are the kind of things that I would actually plan. All right, and it's really more detailed in your presentation. And for the impromptu, because impromptu, you have somehow some kind of preparation, but you do not prepare as is, meaning whatever you prepare, let's say for an interview, it's just a preparation of guessing. Okay, you just guess that they're going to ask me about this, they're going to ask me about this. I need to know about the company, I need to know about the job scope, so you just prepare whatever. Okay, so because why? Because what's going to happen on the day itself is going to be impromptu, and the responses need to be immediate. So it really depends on your pre-existing knowledge prior to coming to the place. All right. So the preparation is such that it's quite different from performing kind of presentation. Is there practice? Okay, you may practice, but whatever that's going to happen on that day itself, it might totally differ. And it can also, while you're there, it can change course at any time. All right. Okay. So, all right. Itu tadi jenis-jenis. Okay, what do we communicate? Okay, of course, when we communicate, there's a topic, there's a subject. Okay, there's a subject matter, and for you to communicate well, you need to know your subject matter well, perfectly well, and you need to be passionate about your topic. Okay, this is very, very important for me. Okay, if I'm not passionate about what I'm presenting, the audience cannot feel it. Okay, the audience cannot feel your passion there. When you're passionate about your topic, it can one thing when you present, you can see that in the eyes, okay, of the presenters, and you can also see that clearly when they handle Q&A. If they're passionate about your topic, they can just answer question very, very well from any angles whatsoever. All right. Of course, you need to well structure your presentation, okay, your topic, and of course when you use your words, you have to use suitable words. And when I say suitable words, okay, presenting, you need to say it. You need to say the words. So when you need to say the words, you need to make sure your pronunciation of words are correct. Okay, the pronunciations must be correct. Okay, and you have no excuse whatsoever, because nowadays in the internet you can just check how you pronounce words, especially English ones. Okay, even for other foreign languages, yes, bahasa Melayu mungkin kurang sikit lah sebab the machine, not all machine can actually pronounce Malay words yet. Okay, but Malay words you should know. Okay, but for English words, no excuse. You can check in the internet. Okay, guna phone je boleh check macam mana nak sebut. And then in the context now, if we are with our students, it's quite embarrassing if the students can pronounce words better than us. Okay, so that's why whenever I present, I make sure that if there's any words that I'm not so sure of, I check. Okay. All right, next. Okay, this is something that makes your presentation more attractive, more interesting. Okay, even though you are in mathematics, even though you're in chemistry, physics especially, it can be dry. When you talk about those subjects by itself, okay, yang teori dan sebagainya. But I have actually seen people who can make these dry subjects very interesting. And normally they would actually relate it to real life. Okay, I have actually attended, when I was in Canada, I've actually attended my friend's lecture. So over there it's quite open. You can just go in and attend any lecture. So I attended a chemistry lecture just once. And I told myself, because I hated chemistry prior to that. When I was in school, I could not understand. It was just very horrible for me to understand chemistry. Okay, so but when I attended that particular lecture, it was I could really understand, because the way he explained it, okay, to us, okay, to people who were there, he can relate it to real life, so that people can understand it really well. Okay, someone like me who hated chemistry at that time, I could understand it. Okay, just because of this. And if possible, try to link to yourself. Okay, sometimes people love listening to stories. Try to link it to yourself. And people can actually remember you when you do that. All right. And if you are good at making jokes, yeah, but provide smart jokes. Okay, jangan yang bodoh-bodoh sangat lah ya. But this is not easy to pull off, especially if you're the very serious type. Jadi macam tak kena tak pandai. But if you're good at it, you can include that in. Okay, that enliven the situation. Okay, now in terms of how to get that language fluency and flair, of course, one is always enunciation. Pronunciation of words. Yang tu saya dah sebutkan tadi. Try to make sure that your pronunciation is always, good. Okay, tak semestinya bunyi macam Mak Saleh, tak semestinya, tapi kena betul sebutan. Voice management. Okay, voice management ni, okay, there's a lot actually we can talk about about voice. Okay, selalu orang sebut dia lah tone, intonasi, variasi. Okay, you need to have all that, and you need to know also how to pace yourself. Ada masa kita boleh cakap dengan guna suara yang kuat, ada masa kita perlahankan suara kita. Okay, nak jadikan situasi di situ agak macam intriguing. Okay, intriguing. So you quieten your voice a little bit so that people be like, okay, they want to hear. Okay, and then sometimes you intonation varies. Okay, so that people won't get sleepy listening to you. Alright. Next, pacing yourself. Ada masa kita laju, ada masa kita perlahan. Laju jangan laju sangat lah ya. Okay. If you go very fast throughout your presentation, it actually shows that this person must be very, very nervous. He wants to get it done and over with. Okay, so don't do that. So pace yourself really well. And I have this one person that I whenever he speaks, I would really give my full attention because he is just so amazing when he talks. Okay, Professor, okay, Muhammad Haji Saleh. He's our Nobel laureate, sastrawan negara. Because I so happen, we used to work together here in USM. So whenever he speaks during meetings, I'll be like putting my all ears towards him. Okay, he has a lot of vast knowledge, and his language is just beautiful. And he is so polite, okay? And whenever you speak to him, you feel like he wants to listen to you, but you want to listen to him. Okay, that's how good he is. All right. Okay. Now, this one we'll see if you can do this a bit later. Okay, if we have enough time, we will try and do it. Now it's 3:15. Okay. Let's continue. Okay. So far slide okay ya, tak ada masalah.
Yes, no problem.
No problem.
Okay, great. Okay, what else? Now I'm going to share with you a story. Okay, this is a dog story. Okay, this happened when this is a true story. Okay, it happened when I was in Edinburgh, Scotland. I did my PhD there. And when I was there, I was actually with my two little boys. Okay, they were very little at that time. Sekarang semua dah besar. I was with my two boys. Okay, one day I came back. I came back from university and I brought them back from where they were, and I brought them back from home. And I need to cross the road. After I park my car, I need to cross the road to get to the apartment that I stayed. All right. So what happened then was there's this one dog, one huge dog over there. When the dog is huge, it's really huge. The dog was, coming towards us happily. Okay, but my two boys, they were scared because they were very little, and they know about kalau anjing kena dengan anjing nak kena samak semua kan, and the dog was actually big, so they got really scared, and I was being a mummy, so I had to protect them. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So then I remember, okay, I love watching documentaries. I remember this documentary saying that you can instruct the dog. So what I did was I said, sit. Can you actually see me? Can I ask you? Can you actually see me, because I cannot see myself here?
Yes, I can see you. We can see you.
So I was doing like sit. Okay, and I stood really, straight up, and I sit and I was looking at the eyes of the dog, and I was like really, I meant business. Okay, and the dog just looked at me, and then he sat. Okay, and of course I just, okay, that worked. We will go home. So I went home. So okay, that's the end of the story in Edinburgh. Okay, berjaya masa tu. And then when I came back to Penang, after I finished my studies, and one day, okay, again I was the same boys, slightly older. Now they were, at that time they were in primary schools, masih kecil lagi lah. So I was again, I parked my car and I had to cross the road, and this time another dog, but not just one, 3 dogs. And they were scary because you're talking about dogs with kancing liar di luar. Okay, scary looking dogs, and I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do? So I thought, okay, let's try the same thing. And I just looked, and I stood up straight again, kaki besarkan sedikit, so that I can look bigger. And I look at the dog, at the 3 dogs, and look at the eyes, and this time I make sure that my voice was louder. So I said, sit! And the dog were actually listen to me, and this is actually serious. They were listening to me. One sat, the other 2 dogs they did not sit, but they just stood there and looking at me, and the ears were like moving as if, what was she doing? But they actually sat there and did not move. Okay, so I was like, okay, let's go, kids, let's go and cross the road, and we did, and the dog never came to us. Okay. Now, what does the story actually say about communication? So can you just give me something? What can you get from the story?
You have to be persistent when you talk.
Yes, you have to be persistent when you talk, yeah? Good. Okay, anything else?
You should know what you are talking about.
Okay, boleh. Alright. I should know what I'm talking about. Kalau tak, memang tak sampai lah kan, okay? Alright, what else?
Give clear direction.
Very clear direction. What did I do?
Ask the dog to sit.
I did not ask. I instruct the dog to
Sorry.
I
Instruct them.
instructed the dog to sit, right? What else did I do? Other than
deliver with confidence.
deliver with confidence. And I was doing, that's why I asked you, can you see me? I did that.
You show your hand.
Okay.
Your finger just now.
Yes, I was like doing that, right?
Yeah.
Verbal communication, right?
Non-verbal communication, correct.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I
non-verbal.
really need from you. Okay, now I love, this is another quotation that I got, okay, from Lee Iacocca. He said, you can have brilliant ideas, but if you can't get them across, your ideas won't get you anywhere. It will just stay inside your brain, because you just cannot convey that. So from the dog story, from the Edinburgh side, if you can see that, there's only one dog, and I used English word. I said sit, correct? Okay, the dog, Edinburgh, Scottish, okay, tapi sit, okay lah, that's one English word. He could understand sit, and that's why he sat, okay? And I had eye contact. I was really looking at him. That posture, I stood up straight, that hand gesture, and my tone of voice. And the dog followed my instruction. And the Penang dogs, okay, there were 3 dogs, not 1 or 2, 3 dogs, okay. Do you think they understand English? I don't think so. More so in Penang, lagi ramai orang Cina di sini, okay. So no, they did not understand English. They might understand Malay. I doubt it, okay. So the owners, they probably don't have owners, so they might not have any language whatsoever, okay. But they still somehow understood what I said. But from what I said, I did not just say something. I had eye contact as well. I had posture. I actually included there stamping of my foot, okay, because there were 3 of them, and I had this gesture and my tone of voice again. And again, they became good dogs and they listened to me. Okay, so from there, I use actually verbal and non-verbal elements. All right. And from studies all over the world, if you read about verbal and non-verbal elements, you would come across this, that when we speak and when we communicate, we actually use just about 7% words, the verbal part, okay, and the paraverbal is actually the tone, whatever that you do when you use your voice, okay, when you convey the verbal part. So for the paraverbal, it's about 38%, and the majority of it is actually non-verbal, more than 50%, 55%. That's how important the non-verbal aspect is in communication. And some people actually divide this as verbal, and they put paraverbal underneath non-verbal. So you can see that verbal is just 7, and the non-verbal part, the other than verbal part, is about 93%. That's how much important the non-verbal aspect is. So do not ignore that part. Okay. So in the non-verbal elements ada banyak. Okay, some of you might know this already. Kinetic in terms of movement, oculesics in terms of your eye, how you use your eye. Eye contact is part of that. Proxemic is basically how far you are with another person. Haptics, Haptics is basically Haptics will be touches. Okay, how you touch. Vocalics is how you use your voice. Chronamics is basically how you deal with time. Okay, chronamics, yeah, chronology. So that's time. Appearance. Sometimes appearance can play a role as part of the non-verbal element. Environment itself can also be part of it. Artifacts will be objects. Olfactics, smell. Even smell can be used, okay, to support the verbal element. Okay, synchrony. Okay, synchrony is basically how you move with other people. If I can tell you a story on how I actually use the synchrony element, okay, I was actually I used to have this lab. Okay, my audiovisual lab is a very old lab, and what I wanted that to be renovated, to be the equipments to be changed, and I've tried so many times. I've informed the people, the relevant people, but nothing was done for years and years and years. Okay, and one day when our vice chancellor came to our school. Over here we do not call we do not use faculty, we use school. So when the vice chancellor came to visit our school, I requested the dean to allow her to come and visit my lab. So when she came over to visit, I actually used this synchrony element, okay, whereby when I talked to her, okay, of course the other elements was also included, but when we were standing together, let's say she leaned a bit to the right, you somehow mimic that, you somehow lean to the right a little bit, so you somehow have that synchronous kind of movement with her. Okay, and there's a study that I've read that is actually one way in actually convincing people that you are at par. I mean, your wavelength is about the same, and they can somehow trust you better. I tried that with her, and it actually worked. So now I've got a new lab for my audiovisual lab. Okay, so it actually works. So you can try that. You can read more about the non-verbal elements. I cannot touch on that a lot of that now, because that's going to take a lot of time. Okay, so non-verbal communication provides individuals and groups with many options for presenting their messages. My way could be this, okay, and I could be using these non-verbal elements for this particular context, and whenever I go for another scenario or another context, I would choose another kind of non-verbal elements to help me. Okay, so you can play around with the elements, the non-verbal elements. Okay, and sometimes, okay, let me read this. When we interact with others, we continuously give and receive wordless signals, and all of our non-verbal behaviors okay, which include our gestures, the way we sit down, how fast or loud we talk, how close we stand, how much eye contact we make. All these send strong messages. And even if we are quiet, there's still some communication going on. I use the example of, if you look at the picture there, I use the example of human and cats. Okay, ramai tak ada kucing di rumah?
Yes.
Ada.
Ada kan, ramai kan? We love our cats, isn't it? If we are cat people, we love our cats. And sometimes we just sit there and then we just look at the cat and stare at the cat, and the cat will be purring, and then suddenly it uses the paw to touch you, and you feel like, oh my, you love me so much, huh? Okay, see, message, being brought across between human and cat, and nothing was, no verbal was included there. Okay, it's just you and your movements there. All right, the non-verbal elements. Okay, next. Okay, I'll read this again. The way you listen, look, move, and react tells the other person whether or not you care, if you are being truthful, and how well you are listening. So when your non-verbal signals match up with the words you're saying, they increase trust, clarity, and rapport. Okay, that is why you need to use the non-verbal element correctly, because if there's a mismatch, people might think that you're lying. They will not. They find it difficult to trust you. Okay, and there might be confusion, some tension, and things like that. Right? Okay, this is just some example of pictures. Well, if you look at these two pictures, you will understand why when you look at the right one, you feel like smiling with him. Okay, and when you look at the left one, say, okay, it's just not a sincere smile. Even for a child, okay, kalau yang kanan tu nampak macam biasa-biasa je kan. Okay, when you look at the one on the left, you'll be like, happy-nya seronok sangat. Okay. All right. There's also something about handshakes. Okay. There's a lot of people actually talk about handshakes when they talk about interviews as well. Okay. When you go for interviews, how do you do the handshake? So it it cannot be too soft, too tak ada rasa apa pun. It means that you're not really serious, okay? Not too strong, kuat sangat pun sakit lah orang kan. And also, okay, sometimes people use handshake to communicate a message. I remember one day, okay, because I read this particular article about handshake and how people actually show power through handshakes. And coincidentally, I think not long after I read the article, I watched the news. And at that particular time, these two politicians, okay, they were like, they disagree. There's a lot of disagreements between these two politicians. Okay, they were from the same party actually. Okay, I'm not going to say who. And one is very senior, and the other one is people know him, quite popular. Okay, but not as junior to the senior one. And in that particular news, what was shown was that they were making amends. Okay, dah baik semula, but they were doing the handshake. Okay, and what I noticed was the one who is senior, if you can see the video, okay, this is what she did. Okay, perempuan lah. This is what she did. They shook hand and did that. Okay, I said, wow, she is really conveying a message, because when she did that, that means, okay, I'm okay now with you, but I'm still more powerful than you. Okay, so that is the kind of things that people do with non-verbal items. All right, so gestures like that. It's very interesting actually when you read a lot on that. Okay, next. So again, okay, when you have the verbal and non-verbal, so when you speak, it's not just the words you use, and you need to match them with the non-verbal elements for better impacts. Okay, so remember that. So and then what? Okay, Okay, sekarang dah tahu, dah tahu non-verbal element penting juga, bukan setakat verbal saja, how you can actually start things off so that you can actually get people's attention. Now, warm up. Okay, alright. Do we need to warm up? Okay, a lot of people say, do we need to warm up? We are not singers, we're not theater actors, okay? But actually you do, especially if you speak a lot, if you use a lot of your voice, okay? And if you do warm up, you don't lose your voice very easily. Okay, so and also when you do this warming up, okay, you don't easily stumble on the enunciation of words. So what do you do when you have this warm up? Okay, sorry, I'll just read this. Okay, when a person's voice is sure and steady, that person commands our respect. Okay, so whenever you project your voice, it can actually impact on how people react to you. Okay, so we buy what they say. Okay, if they have really good voice, we can buy what they say. We buy their products and their ideas, and we buy them because we believe them. Because cara dia gunakan suara tu meyakinkan. Alright. So how do you exercise? How do you warm up your exercise? There's a lot of ways, plenty of that in the internet. You can just search. This is just one of them. Okay, and they always have this facial stretch. Okay, the second one, that is actually for lip exercise. Okay, I want to okay, and then tongue exercise. Okay, you actually move your tongue within your mouth. All right, so that you can make it apa ni, tak pendek lah kalau tak cakap apa-apa, lidah kita pendek jadi susah nak sebut apa-apa perkataan. Okay, and you do the these are for vocal exercise, so you practice your vocal cord. Shh is also a vocal exercise as well, and also tongue twisters. Okay, this is one of them. I also looked at this another one. This is for a TED talk. Okay, this person gave some tips. Breathing exercise is there. For breathing exercise, he actually said that it's for your diaphragm. Okay, you would actually inhale very deep and then you exhale slowly. Okay, I will touch a bit on that a bit later. Okay, but my way. You have the tongue exercise that's similar to the one that I showed earlier. That's for facial muscles. And then the whole hum exercise, that's for vibrating your vocal cord, and the O sound to stretch out your vocal cord. Okay, now this is the normal way. Okay, many variety of ways how you can warm up your vocal cord. But I have to be honest, I don't really use that, but I still do warm up exercises. But one thing I want to touch on, when I looked at this video on how you do breathing exercise, I thought it's actually something that we as Muslims, we Muslims do, because we are encouraged to read the Quran. And normally it's good to recite the Quran after subuh or before subuh, okay, so in the morning. And whenever you read the Quran, okay, I noticed that we have to actually inhale. Okay, before we read certain ayat, we have to inhale really deep, okay, because we need to recite it, continuously. So when we recite it continuously, that's when we exhale slowly. So it's actually something similar to this breathing exercise. Okay, so if you actually recite the Quran in the morning, you are doing the breathing exercise already. And that's why I see a lot of people who read the Quran every day. They have really good voice. Okay, something that I noticed. Okay, another thing that this is what I do. Okay, sometimes because when I'm in a hurry, tak sempat nak baca Quran, this is actually what I do, especially when I need to do my presentation before I go for conference, or before I come for classes, when I know I have a lecture that morning, or when I am called to be an MC for certain events. I would actually in my car, while I drive, I actually do this. And what's interesting about this is actually you have the that is actually needed in the exercise for warm up, okay, vocal warm up. You have the Allah and you have the Subhanallah, okay, sound. Okay, when you need to exercise your lips, okay, and the k, okay, a lot of the vocal cords training there. All right, so I would recite this. I'll be doing Subhanallah walhamdulillah wala ilaha illallah wallahu akbar while driving, and I would do it out loud. Okay, people can't hear me while I drive, right? So I'll be doing it out loud. So by the time I reach to my destination, my voice is already warmed up. Okay, so I do less mistakes whatever that I do. So, this is my way of doing it. Okay, so if you want to try the other kind of warm-up, the normal kind of warm-up, you can do so. There's plenty that you can actually follow. But this is what I do. All right? Okay, next. What time is it now?
It's 3:35.
3:35. Okay,
Yeah, still got much time.
Right. I just want to make sure that I'm at the right point. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, next. Okay, now we look at the audience. How we can enjoy the audience, and let's present. Okay, what do you do? Okay, now when you want to present, okay, before I start, okay, I want to do a bit of test, a short test. Put away your pens and pencil, your paper and pens and pencil. I just want you to remember, okay, I will be saying out loud this list of words, okay, and then you will try to remember as many as possible. Okay, ready? Everybody ready, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jangan mengelak ya. Jangan tulis. Alright, I'll start now. Dream, sleep, night, mattress, snooze, sheet, nod, tired, night, artichoke, insomnia, blanket, night, alarm, nap, snore, pillow. Okay, you can count how many words you've got. All right. But looking at the items, petang ni saya tak ada my power nap. I didn't do my power nap. Normally I have power nap after my lunch. Okay, how many words have you got that you can remember? Try. You can write down now the words that you can remember. Have you finished? Okay, in the list just now, I've got 17 of them. Okay, can you count how many words that you have? How many have got 17? 16? 15? 14?
10 only.
You got 10, okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
quite a lot actually, 10, all right. Any more? Ada yang dapat lebih lagi? Okay, let's see. Okay, tak apa. 10. What was the first word?
Sleep.
Dream.
Dream. Okay. Dream, sleep. Ada lagi yang lain? Okay. What about the last word?
Pillow.
Pillow. Okay. So, okay. Actually, the first word is actually dream. Yang sleep tu tadi is actually the second word. Okay. The last word is pillow. Okay. And, okay. People easily remember the first and last things they hear in a series. Okay, that's why a lot of people, I think a lot of you would actually would have gotten the first and last word, dream and pillow. Okay, that is why, okay, when you do your presentation, it is good to have a high energy start. Okay, because that is something that people will remember. Jangan mula-mula tu, gear rendah sangat. Okay, good to have a high energy start, and then good to have a final recap. Okay, because these two things will be remembered. Okay, next, who remembers artichoke?
Yeah, I remember.
I did. Yeah, I remember
Okay,
too.
why do you think you remember artichoke?
It's
Because it was a bit
different.
different
Different.
compared to
It's
the rest.
different, isn't it? Kan?
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's actually a surprise. This is an artichoke, just in case you don't know what it is. So that's an artichoke. People, okay, will remember something that surprises them. Okay, so that's something that is different, something that is new, something that is unexpected. So people will remember your presentation for much longer if it's novel and untraditional, if not shocking. Okay, sebab tu saya kata jangan biasa-biasa saja. Okay, go for something different, yeah, something that is unique. Okay, when you do your presentation. Next, okay, how many people got night?
I am.
Seorang je ke? Yang lain? Ada, okay, okay, let me paraphrase this. Who did not get night? Ada tak? Tak ada. Okay. You know why? Because night is actually mentioned 3 times. I mentioned night 3 times. So, repetition is another thing to make people remember what you said. So, most would have remembered and wrote this word because it was repeated 3 times. And people remember things more if they are repeated. Okay, so it's actually important. How can you repeat? Janganlah macam jadi macam radio rosak kan. So it's actually important to recap. So you repeat in terms of recapping, in terms of review of the main key points of your presentation, more than once if possible, to ensure your audience can remember them. Alright. Okay, so remember this also. Repetition is also important. But repeat, janganlah cara yang sama. Cuba ulang sedikit berlainan. Okay, anybody got bad? Just wondering.
Yes.
You got bad? Okay.
Yeah.
Ada ya? Okay, right. So this is actually an interesting thing because, and this happened every time I ask this question, okay? Some people would actually list out bad, although it's actually not part of the list. It's really not part of the list, okay? Because why? Our brain automatically closes gaps in what it sees and hears or reads and sometimes assumes things that never took place happen. Okay, because why? Bad is very much, related to, pillow, relate to night, relate to sleep. So that visual, that vision, the vision of bad is you can't help but put it there. Okay, yang ni tak ada apalah. It's just things like this would actually happen, but it's actually something that is to me it's okay because when we listen to things, we need to connect it to whatever that is relevant. Okay, to whatever that is being mentioned, we need to think out of the box, and sometimes we connect it to things that are related and relevant. Okay. All right, so again, 4 basic principles of memory. So these are the things that you might want to include when you do your presentation. First and the last points, you have to have high energy on that because people would actually remember what is mentioned, okay, first and also last. Something that is surprising, something that is interesting, okay, out of the ordinary. Try to include that in your presentation. Repetition, okay, include that also. Okay, especially the important ones, all right. False memory, okay, itu tak apa. That is basically things that actually happen when you as an audience being part of listening to the presentation, okay. All right, so that's in terms of the things that you need to include. Now, I'm going to share with you, okay, some information that is related to TED Talks. I'm sure everyone here.
Doctor, I think, sorry, Doctor, I think there's someone who raised his hand. Dr. Ahmad Munsif.
Okay, I did not see any hands raised. Okay, you can ask me question. Who's that?
Okay, Dr. Ahmad Munsif, do you have question? Oh, I think no. Maybe because you asked questions just now. You asked
Oh,
them
okay.
to
Dia
raise their
angkat
hands.
tangan. Okay, right. Okay,
Sorry.
thumbs up, something like that. No problem at all. Okay, now I'm going to go to TED Talks, right? So TED Talk, I'm sure everybody have watched something from TED Talks, right? One of the interesting way of presenting ideas, all right? Okay, one of the most popular TED Talk speakers, okay, is actually Simon Sinek. Okay, Simon Sinek is actually an ethnographer. He is actually a shy person and doesn't like speaking to crowds. But it's actually interesting that he became one of the most invited person, you know, giving talks at TED Talks and also now in talk shows. All right. Normally, okay, for him at parties, he would actually just hide somewhere in the corner or sometimes don't even show up at parties, all right? And he has 22, I'm sure by now it has increased, 22 million video views, okay? And I don't know, I would assume he's one of the top, probably now the number one or number two. It's ironic, as I said, he's an introvert, but very inspirational speaker and also a best-selling author. Okay, I'm sharing with you what he shared about how to give powerful public speeches. Okay, and he gave these 7 tips. All right, and what he does. Okay, first is when you go on stage. Okay, when you go on stage to give a talk, you go there. Right, kerana sekian ni kalau selalunya saya akan tunjuklah kat depan, tapi sebab view camera kecil je, you try to imagine you go on stage and you stand there, you look at the audience, jangan mula terus, okay, don't talk right away, you just breathe in, you know, get yourself comfortable there. Okay, so that's what you do. Okay, jangan kalut lah, ya, maksudnya jangan kalut, go there, relax, and then you start. Number 2, okay, show up to give, not to take. Okay, this is when the passion comes in. Okay, when you give your presentation, you are excited. You really want to give, share with your audience what you have got. Okay, not just to, you know, just to take their time away from them, you know, and just to listen to you, but you really want to share and show it to the audience. Number 3. Okay, when I first read this, I said, wow, this is interesting, because when I learned about making an eye contact when you do presentation, normally teachers would say, okay, make eye contact if you're very nervous, you shouldn't have to look at the eyes. You look at the dahi ke, you look at the, you know, mana-manalah tempat lain, but not the eyes. Okay, but not for him. He said, okay, make eye contact with the audience. Maknanya you actually look, if I'm there with you, I would be doing this. Okay, I will look at siapa, Puan Zaliha, yeah, I will look at her, Puan Zaliha, I will look her and I will be talking to her, looking at her eyes, I'll be talking to her, and I finish off my sentence, and then only I move to another person. Then I will look at Hawa. And then I look at apa ni, Puan Noraini. You know, I would actually look at you one by one. So this eye contact would actually grabs people's attention and make them feel that you are talking to them. Okay, so the gap is no longer there. All right. Next, when you speak, try to speak unusually slowly. Okay, because why? Because whenever you're up there, people, when they get nervous, they tend to talk very fast. They try not to do that. Speak unusually slowly, because people will actually wait for you and listen to you, because you are already there and they are there to listen to you. So don't worry about going very fast and get it done and over with, because they are there for you. So speak unusually slowly. And the next one, number 5, okay, if in the audience you have what he calls a naysayer. Okay, if naysayer is someone who is looking very negative, dia duduk kat situ, dia, you know, cross finger and, you know, looking at you, like judging you, macam tak suka kat you, that kind of thing. Okay, if you have this kind of person that you feel is a naysayer, that one you ignore. Don't look at them, because you know, if you focus on this particular person, semangat hilang. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, because you have all these other people who are there for you, willing to listen to you and look at them. All right, and just ignore this naysayer. You have to skip. Okay, tengok orang lain. And okay, yang ni, turn nervousness into excitement. I've got this link. Okay, it actually talk about that particular point. Okay, you can have a look at it on your own later. Okay, turn nervousness into excitement. Okay, I've actually tried this and it's actually very, very useful. Okay, because whenever you want to go on stage, for whatever purpose, okay, especially when you want to present your paper, okay, you've got you stand there. It's an international conference, people from all over the world. The scholars that you like, you've been quoting the person's name in your article, is actually there in front of you. You get really, really nervous, tangan sejuk, butterflies in the tummy and all that. He said that, Simon Sinek says that you should actually observe athletes, because athletes, okay, whenever they have a competition, okay, you got competition, something like that. So when they have games, okay, when they have games, and sometimes, especially big games, and then you have all these newscasters that come and ask you, the media people will come with the microphone and ask them, okay, how do you feel? And normally they would actually say, I'm very excited. Okay, I'm excited. I want to win for my country. Okay, that kind of thing. Do you think they're not nervous? They're very, very nervous. Okay, they have the same feeling. The butterflies in the tummy, rasa sejuk, semua dia rasa sama. Okay, all the same. But what they do is, when they have this kind of nervousness, your heart is pumping, okay, and all that, they translate that, okay, they translate that nervousness and change that to become the excitement. So whenever they feel that kind the pumping in of the heart because of nervousness, they say, okay, I'm actually excited. So whenever you're nervous, when you want to do a presentation, and tell yourself, yes, my heart is pumping, okay, I feel all this. It's actually my excitement to do very well. Okay, so so that you can actually put the nervousness aside and you don't entertain the nervousness so much, but you entertain the excitement that comes with the pumping of your hearts, right? And of course, when you end, don't forget to say thank you to your audience, all right? Because they are there giving their time for you, listening to you, and you need to appreciate them. So these are the 7 tips, and I've tried all of them. Okay, I've tried all of them and they work. So try them, okay? Okay, for the next one, this is the link that I mentioned that you can actually, if you want, you can watch it later on your own. I don't mind sharing my slide for you later. And then this is another studies done for TED Talks, okay? And the results is actually quite interesting. People would actually say that if they look at a presenter that have high vocal variety, maknanya suara dia ada variasi, ya, ada tukar kuat, perlahan dan sebagainya, and longer smiling is actually important. They find that the person is credible, okay? And if the person have also vocal variety, ya, tak adalah high vocal variety, dia ada variasi tersebut, and a lot of hand gestures, they feel that this person has got charisma. And if the person smile more than 40 seconds, they feel that this person has got intelligence. See, smiling is important. Dapat pahala, then people actually think good things about you. That's why it's actually sunat. Okay, next. Okay, so tadi TED Talks. Now I just want to touch a little bit on 3-minute thesis. This is a very popular kind of competition done in universities. A lot of universities have actually used this. I don't know about IPG. I think IPG should start looking at this kind of competition. It's actually a 3-minute thesis whereby you present in 3 minutes. Okay, within 3 minutes, you cannot use any electronic media, no props, and you just use yourself. You cannot be singing or reciting poems and doing rap songs, tak boleh. Okay, and what is that? It's just one slide, and within that slide, it can actually explain whatever it is that you need to explain. And it's only done within 3 minutes. Okay, so within that 3 minutes, you need to be able to capture people's attention, explain what is there that you want to share, and it must be related to whatever that you show, display on the slide. Okay, and I also, okay, because this is very interesting because it teaches you to be very impactful in a short time. You have to be very concise. You have to think very carefully on how you say things, on what you present, what you choose for your presentation, and what you choose for your slide. I use this for my my students here as well, for their communication course. All right, because you have to have proper preparation for this. And it only takes 3 minutes. Okay, that's another interesting point. It's just 3 minutes, all right? But it has to be individual, cannot be a group. But this is good for individual assessments. Okay, for this 3 minutes thesis, okay, I'm not going to touch, on the criteria because this one you can read yourself. So of course, you will look at the comprehension in the content, whether you can do it very clearly and you can make the audience understand what you present. Okay, this one is 3-minute thesis is first done for sciences, right? And another criteria is how engaging you are and how do you communicate, how do you grab the attention of the audience, and how the your pace, the vocal range and the confidence that is conveyed. And it also okay, the one that I chose, okay, the website actually explain, how you can actually prepare for 3MT presentation. And I just want to highlight on this. Okay, one thing, whenever you do your presentation, you have to have a clear outcome in mind. Yeah, and because this would actually help you in organizing or structuring your presentation. You have to know what you want your audience to take away from your presentation. Okay, so you have to have the end in your mind first. Okay, and then you structure it so that it can cover, what needs to be covered. Ideally, you would like the audience to leave with an understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Okay, next, tell a story. Okay, Yanis, I've actually mentioned this. Telling a story is good. Okay, because people can relate well with stories. The coherence is there, and it catches people's attention. All right. What not to do, okay? Dia kata, okay, you do not write your presentation like an academic paper, okay? If you go to conferences and you read your presentation, it's really boring if you do that. Okay, try not to do that, okay? Because presentation, that's why they call it presentation. If you're just reading from your script, they might as well just read your article from the proceeding. Okay, when you present, you do it in such a way that, within that 20 minutes, I am able to convey what is the significant parts of my article. Okay. And of course, when you present orally, when you write, you can write in longer sentences, complex sentences. But when you present, okay, normally we use shorter words, okay, shorter sentences and shorter paragraphs. Humor, only use it when you know how to use it. You can use it, but someone needs to be skillful in doing this. Okay, not many people can do this. All right. Okay. Okay. You need to revise. You need to, okay. The slide. Yang ni tak apa. Yang ni you can do it. Okay. Next one. Practice. So whenever you do whatever presentation, it's good for you if you can practice. All right. Okay, vocal range is also important. So you have to speak clearly and use variety in your voice. Right? Body language, okay, you need the non-verbal part, the one that I mentioned. All right. If let's say I come again and present something to you, I might want to talk about this non-verbal part a bit more, and also the two-way communication. That's also important. Record yourself if you have time. Okay, and look to the stars. Okay, whenever I do anything, I like to look at examples of presentations. Okay, for example, for 3MT, the best example, okay, is actually our own Malaysian. Okay, she actually won the Fame Lab. Okay, Fame Lab utilizes the 3MT format. for their competition. And she actually won in 2018. She's from USM, Dr. Siti Khairia. If you have time, you can actually watch how she presented. It's very interesting, and how she described, her scientific finding to her husband, things like that. So it's very, very interesting. Okay, so now, one of the things that I talked about a lot, in my presentation just now is about intonation, varying your intonation. So ada tak siapa-siapa nak volunteer? Is there anyone who here would like to volunteer to practice the intonation? Anyone? Show your skill. Howard. Howard, don't hide. Where are you?
Sorry, I'm not hiding. I'm answering people questions. Sorry, Lily.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Good excuse. Anyone else? Anyone would like to try? I'm going to give you this. And try to read it. Okay, read it with a good intonation. This is one thing that I like to watch whenever I go on flights and I'll be listening to the flight announcement and say, yang ni Asia tak bagus. Malaysia Airlines, okay. Anybody would like to try this?
Dr. Lilani, I think those non-TESOL lecturers, they should try.
Yeah.
Kan? Okay. Saya ada yang bahasa Melayu juga. I know. I have BM, but I was asked only English. Okay, we will just remain English. I think Dr. Puan Norainin, maybe you can identify who should try this. Because I don't know if you here.
Okay. I think if you can ask Dr. Abdul Aziz or Dr. Ahmad Munsif.
Jom.
Jom, Dr. Ahmad Munsif. Or Dr. Ainun.
Yes, Dr. Ainun. Yes, Dr. Ainun. Where's Dr. Ainun?
Jom. Okay, let's try this.
Jom, Dr.
Ahmad
Ainun.
Munsif raised his hand.
Yes.
Ahmad Munsif.
Okay. Ahmad Munsif.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will be landing shortly. Please put your seat upright, fasten your seatbelt, and return your chair table to its original position. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Tadi apa? Dr. apa? Ahmad?
Dr. Ahmad
Munsif.
Munsif.
Belum doktor lagi. Munsif.
Munsif. Okay. Right. Interesting name. Okay. Alright.
Fatihah.
Fatihah, jom jumpa.
She raised her hand. Okay.
Okay, hello. I would like to try.
Okay, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly. Please put up. Sorry, can I repeat?
Yes, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly. Please put your seat upright, fasten your seatbelt, and return your chair table to its original position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Nah, Dr. Ustazah Fatihah is an Arabic language lecturer. And
Okay.
Dr. Ahmad Munsif is a psychologist. Okay.
Oh, tadi Arabic.
tadi
Yang
Arabic.
Ahmad Musi tu psychology.
Psychology.
Oh, okay. Oh, Arabic. Boleh tak buat dalam bahasa Arab? Apa tadi?
Tu Dr. Ainan tu. Tu
Dr. Ainan.
Arabic juga. She raised her hand.
Saya nak dengar dalam bahasa Arab, okey tak? Boleh tak?
Kalau dalam bahasa Arab saya kena cari skrip dia dulu. I'm not ready now.
You're ready now. Tak boleh buat ya. Here. Apa? Then here. Ladies and gentlemen, cuba cakap. Ladies and gentlemen, bahasa Arab.
Sadati wa sadati.
Okay. Saya kan, I noticed that people with Arabic language, the pronunciation is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Sebab apa dia the enunciation of the syllables cantik sangat. So macam seronok saya dengar, especially yang memang very sounding Arabic tu kan. Tadi Dr. Ainan, okay, Dr. Ainan tadi tak cuba dalam bahasa Inggeris kan?
Okay, saya cuba ya.
Okay, right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly. Please put your seat upright, fasten your seatbelt, and return your chair table to its original position. Thank you.
Lovely, cantik yang tu. Okay. So, nampak apa ni cantik sebab apa? Variasi suara tu ada. Okay. The voice intonation is there, the variety is there, and also your tone is nice. Okay. Apa ni for gentlemen, they are actually quite lucky because gentlemen they already have low tones in their voices, alright. Adalah mungkin ada jarang-jarang adalah gentlemen with higher tone, but most gentlemen have got lower tone, and this lower tone is actually it makes people feel very comfortable listening to you. It sounds quite convincing, okay. And that is why, if you notice, a lot more men, okay, when they have people vote, they would actually vote for men, because one of the reason is because of their lower tone, and because that lower tone can actually give out this indirectly, the message that, you can trust me, I'm, when you listen, it's comforting, okay, that kind of thing. And for ladies also, not many lady leaders, okay, have got high pitch. Most of them have got lower tone in their voices. Okay, so it does play a little bit, a role in making people convinced. Okay, so if you have, okay, I have a very originally I've got a very soft tone. Masa dulu muda memang high pitch sikit, but I try to learn to lower my tone a bit. Okay, so that I do not sound high pitch. High pitch is good if you're dealing with children, but if you're dealing with adults, you need to have lower pitch, lower tone. Alright. And tadi, okay, the example just now, okay, all three of you, you pace yourself well. In the pronunciation, maybe ada satu dua perkataan yang boleh diperbaiki lagi. Macam contoh, the word seat, okay. Kalau apa ni, SIT pendek, SIT sit, itu pendek lah, sit. This is seat, tempat duduk, seat. So yang ni kena panjang sikit, so seat, right? And chair, table. Okay, chair, table, the word chair tu tadi ada yang macam lain sedikit sebutannya, right? Chair, table. And fasten, the word fasten, the T is actually silent. Okay, nak ajar pronunciation sikit lah. So silent, so it shouldn't be fasten, so it should be fasten. Alright, so this announcement should be, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly. Please put your seat upright, fasten your seat belt, and return your chair table to its original position. Thank you. Okay, so apa ni? Tadi yang last kali apa Dr. Ainon tadi? Yang tu saya suka dengar. Okay, so that's very good. Alright, so I'm not that worried about your variasi suara. Yang contoh-contoh yang diberikan tu bagus. Okay, good choices. Alright, let's see. Okay, should we go for question and answer, Puan Norainin? Before I end?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Do you have any
Is
questions?
there anyone who would like to pose questions to Dr. Lilani? We open the floor to all of you.
Can I ask you something, Dr. Lilani?
Yes, please.
Well, sometimes while presenting our paper, you just there's blank part where you can't remember anything. Do you have any tips how to overcome this?
Okay, all right. Okay. That happened. Okay, that happened when I was actually younger. Okay. You know why that happened? It's because and it also happened to my students. That normally happen if you memorize your text. Okay, so if you memorize your text, that's a problem. Okay, one thing you should never do. Okay, is to when you practice, you say exactly as what you plan to say. Okay, what I always tell my student, I always tell myself, and this is what I do, is when I prepare my presentation, is I prepare point forms. Okay, and when whatever I put on the slide, if slides are allowed, is I just put point for. I do not put everything there, because when you put everything on the slide, what happen is you will be reading it, and you can just lose your train of thoughts. But when you put your slide in point forms, only the important points is placed there on the slide. It will force yourself to speak and to explain. Okay, but if you know your stuff very well, that's why I said you have to be very passionate about what you do. Okay, you know the ins and outs of what you studied and you have written in your article. Okay, so when you do that, okay, because let's say if I practice presenting for my articles, I'll be putting the slides, okay, the slides on the points on the slides. And whenever I practice, okay, I do practice, okay, so whenever I practice, it always comes out differently. My sentences are always different, but the message is still the same. Understand what I mean? So maknanya when we have the slide is there to just guide you on where to go after this, and not to miss out, probably the important points that you need to convey in your presentation. That's really what I have done. I have actually forgotten when I was younger. Okay, I did not have all this information. Of course, again, you try and you test. Some failures, and you learn from your failure. What I did then was actually memorize. Yang tu memang selalu buat saya akan, bila terlupa je dah kita nervous kan. We are so nervous, macam-macam ya. Nampak muka orang tiba-tiba terlupa semua. Yeah, terlupa. And once you forget one, it's like a domino effect. Okay, you will just forget about a lot of other things that you were supposed to convey. Okay, slides are, it's good to have slides, but do not put everything there. Okay, bila banyak-banyak, kadang-kadang when you're nervous, you just cannot find it because there's too many words on the slide. Okay, does that help you? It worked for me.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes, finally.
Okay, good. Okay, alhamdulillah.
Is
Okay,
there
any
any
other
more?
question?
And is there any more question? Anyone would like to pose a question to Dr. Lilani?
Okay, tak ada.
I believe there's no more.
Okay, alright. Kalau tak ada, I just want to show you just this slide. This is actually, it summarizes what I've been talking about today. And when you communicate, these are the things that you communicate. Knowing your stuff really well, perfectly well, be passionate about it, structure it well. And of course, when you use the words, use suitable words. And when you prepare, think of the verbal and non-verbal usages. Okay, how do you actually utilize them? There's a lot of things that you can do with the verbal and non-verbal, matching up of the verbal and non-verbal. Do the warm-up. Okay, if you're nervous, that's okay, that's normal, but change that to excitement and practice. And then when you do your presentation, always try to remember to relate it, okay, to link it to real life. If you have anything about yourself that you can share, you do, include that in your presentation. If you're good at making jokes, you can put that in and do connect with your audience. All right, I think that's it. And other things that I would like to share is just don't forget that, the best among you is the one who doesn't harm others with his tongue and hands. Okay, that's from our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And also don't forget to smile. Okay, this actually is very attractive and people would actually love looking at you and want to listen to you when you look. Bila tengok muka sweet je kat depan tu kan. Jadi they would want to be to listen to you. Alright, that's it from me. Terima kasih from me, Lilani Ayub, USM. Okay. I'll pass it back to you, Puan Norainin.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lilani. Thank you very much for addressing this interesting topic. Okay. You managed to make it very interesting. Okay. And we learn a lot about new things also. Some of the things that you refreshed. Okay. So on behalf of IPG KPI, we would like to thank you for joining us today.
Can we have a picture first?
Yes.
Can we take a picture first?
Sure, sure.
Can I ask
Sure.
everybody to on their camera then for a while?
Okay, can we have the picture after this?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we come finally we come to the end of our part of the presentation. Okay. So we would like to say thank you again to Dr. Dilani for presenting the informative and very interesting talk and to the audience for being very active participants. Okay. And hopefully the presentation will be beneficial for everybody. So I believe we can turn on our video, turn on our camera so that we can have, we can take a group photo. All right, thank you. This is wonderful.
Oh, Dr. Abdurrahman is here. Okay, you're welcome,
Yes.
Dr. Abdurrahman.
Okay, freestyle.
I don't see Puan Zaleha.
Puan Zaleha, you're not on.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. One more time. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Freestyle, please. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for inviting me.
Thank you, Dr. Dilani, and hopefully the presentation is very beneficial to everyone.
Hopefully.
Till we meet again in Escapade, English Escapade 2022 with very much thank you to all. I bid goodbye to everyone.
Right,
Assalamualaikum
thank you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dilani.
Thank you, Lilani. See you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye, Lilani.